This is one of my favorite and one of my most used Kimura entries. I'm in half guard and my opponent is framing on my neck as he should be. I'm going to convince him that he's doing a good job. I'm driving into him, he's going to be pushing back and making burbling sounds. Go ahead. He thinks he's doing the good thing. He's not. He's giving me the Kimura. From here, I am going to take my arm out from around his head and I'm going to rear naked choke his triceps. I'm going to capture it here. Now I'm trying to squeeze as hard as I can, but I'm not yet in the Kimura, obviously. So from here, I'm going to start wiggling my body down towards his hips, just a little bit. I'm also going to be sneaking my arm from around his shoulder area down closer to his elbow area. Where here, I go down. Now, I want to get his hand clear of my head. He knows that hand's in trouble, but there's not much he can do about it. I'm going to drive forward. If I keep on driving forward, that hand has to come free. And then I'm going to lock up the Kimura grip here. Now that I've got the Kimura, I'm going to try to free my leg. My leg is trapped between Michael's legs. No problem, I've got a great big lever. What I'm going to do here, and this looks strange, but it's actually very high percentage, so I'm going to drive forward and put my left ear, my top ear, on the ground, or here. And I'm going to bring my other shin up across his legs underneath my trapped leg. My right leg is trapped, my left leg comes up underneath. From here, I'm going to be hanging out here. If he opens his legs to do something, I'm past his legs. If he doesn't open his legs to do something, he just hangs on for dear life, I'm going to push with my shin on his thighs and extract my foot. And I'm going to come back to side control. From here, I'm going to finish the Kimura however I want to. We're going to go over a ton of variations, but that is the basic attack, and I use that again and again and again. Okay, so that looks a little bit goofy, and the first time I saw it, I was like, no way, this is never going to work, and now it's one of my top attacks. Let's go into the details and also show some of the other variations you can play with. It's actually pretty easy to bait your opponent into framing on your neck. Now once this is here, this is like a gift from God. But I don't want to hold this loosely. I'm not cosmetically going here because now he can move his hand around and escape. He can short arm, he can get his elbow to the floor, none of which I want. I want to be squeezing it. I kind of want to be thinking about choking his arm like this. I don't want to put it to sleep. Now, if I'm here and I stay high in his armpit and I drive forward, he can keep his hand in my neck. But if I come down closer to his elbow, I reduce the amount of mobility he has, and now when I drive forward, that hand has to come free. I can drive forward quite a distance, way more so, let's go to side control please, way more so than I could in side control. I like capturing this upper arm in side control as well, but to free this arm, I can't drive forward as far as I have to. This is not a stable side control. He's going to roll me over basically. Yeah, exactly. What profit is it to a man to gain the Kimura but lose the top? However, when I'm in half guard, I can drive forward much, much further, sort of in a direction down towards his legs, and still keep the top position. Once I lock up the Kimura, you see 5 fingers here, 5 fingers here, my priority becomes freeing the leg. Now, it is true that if I'm reasonably strong and he doesn't really know what he's doing, I can finish this inside half guard. It's going to be a little bit hard for me to rotate, so what does that leave me? It leaves me the option to travel his arm up. I can either rotate his arm a whole lot, but that's tough because I can't really base with my top leg. But if I traverse his elbow up towards his ears, now maybe I can finish it from half guard. It's not impossible. Most of the time though, I want to free this leg. So, we're going to talk about going forward, and I'm going to talk about some other options here. If I go forward here, I'm going to drive my bottom leg, my left leg, up underneath my right leg. What am I doing here? take a look at how I'm controlling his leg with my instep. This prevents that far leg, his right leg, from moving around too much. This is actually a very stable position because no matter what he does, if he tries to roll me or sweep me or anything, I escape. It's been very difficult for him to sweep me while keeping his legs tightly pinched. If he doesn't do anything at all, I'm going to be using my shin, the power of my shin, my hip extension, to extract my leg. Ideally, I make ballerina toes and pull my leg out. Now, once I'm here, yes, I can kick back to side control. Very valid, very good. I can also, once I extract, kick out to north-south control. That old lazy man Kimura. I can also, once I extract that leg, roll over my left shoulder and go to the T Kimura. All of these are options. So, let's say that you hate the idea though of falling forward and doing this weird balancing on your ear and on one shin. Fair enough. There are other options that I can show you. Where here I've captured the arm. I can pike my hips up, bring my shin in, and sit on my butt. Now, it's going to be difficult to maintain that far frame Kimura. I can probably just keep it here. I'm going to have to worry about getting this back into a good position later, but that's okay. At least this arm isn't going anywhere. And I'm sitting on my left buttock with my right leg still trapped. Now I can use that same counterpoint push, pushing with my left shin and fighting to extract my right leg. Let's say he's so high, really climb your leg high. He's so high on my thigh that I can't bring my bottom shin through. What I really want to do is to move his leg down, ideally to below my knee. So notice what I did there. I've got the Kimura, but I can't pull my knee out. So I'm going to switch my grip. So I'm using a one-handed Kimura here. The more folded in his arm is, the less powerful it is. If I'm holding it at 90 degrees, he can hammer fist his way out of here. If I manage to bend this up to maybe the 45 degree, much harder to do a tricep extension from here. I'm going to push with my hand and move my hips up. My goal is not to escape my foot fully. My goal is to escape my knee out past the level of his thigh. At this point, I can go and use that shin to clear. So to summarize, it's a really high percentage attack, but it requires faith. It requires a bit of drilling with a compliant partner, and then it requires you going against the whitest white belt in class, figuring out how to stay comfortable while you're balancing on your ear, and to figure out how to stop him from sweeping you, or taking your back, or knocking you over. All of which is pretty easy to do if you just spend a little bit of quality time upside down there like a bat.